Welcome back, you lovely people. In today's video, we're going to talk about our potential scenarios as we approach the most important trend line in crypto. We are consolidating underneath it at the moment. Not a lot happening today, down 0.5%, just under 40,000, hanging around. Some altcoins having a nice day. Ethereum's up a little bit, and that was due because they've been lagging certainly over the past week or so. But we are consolidating right under the most important trend line in crypto. So let's have a look at what might happen next. I'm just going to clean this up. I'm going to get rid of our two scenarios. It looks like we're following path 2. We followed path 2. That was our preference. It looks like it's playing out. If we do end up dipping below 28,000, we'll be all over it. But it does look like we are heading in to test the most important trend line in crypto. It'd be a surprise if we went in and made a lower low at this point. But like I said the other day, let's not rule anything out. So next, we're looking at the most important trend line in crypto, and we're heading towards our launch pad. I want to look at what happened in the last cycles. They all had their most important trend lines in crypto. So this is 2013, the mid-cycle shakeout. You can see the trend line that we can use here, connecting the peaks. And we had our capitulation, and then we came up to the most important trend line in crypto. So what I'm noticing at this point, the price here was about $100, and we spiked in to test it once and twice. This time we had a fake out to the upside, then we consolidated below, and then finally broke out. What else is interesting to note is that once we had failed for the second time, we did have a correction once we got rejected. This was a 22% pullback, so that's interesting. We can keep that in mind if it happens. Once we had broken the most important trend line in crypto, we then had a gain of approximately 14%, call it 15%. And then after that, we came in and we retested the level of the breakout. So 15% retest, which is the same level as the breakout. It was $89. And then we were on our way up to the peak. So that's all very interesting, and let's keep that in mind when we go and have a look at the next cycle. So let's have a look at 2017. Here we are. So June, July 2017. Now, this was really where the most important trend line in crypto became a trend line. So the first test really was when we broke through. I mean, we tested the day before we broke through, got rejected. We came back about 8% or so. But the next day was really a rocket ship, blasted through, and that was a move of approximately 20% from the trend line. But once again, we broke out, came back in to retest the same level of the breakout before we resumed our move upwards. So this pullback was approximately 17% or so. So that's very interesting as well. We'll keep that in mind. There's one more area I want to look at, which is in 2017, this area in September, which was not the mid-cycle shakeout. It was the pullback before the parabolic blow off top. So why do we want to look at this area? Well, what I'm finding very interesting is if you look at the halving tracker, the green line is the 2017 cycle. And I'm seeing a lot of symmetry here. This pullback in 2017, that bottomed almost to the day, the same day that we bottomed in the mid-cycle shakeout in this cycle. You can see lining up to the day. These prices are based on the daily close. So in our mid-cycle shakeout, it was that last day that had the lowest daily close, even though it wasn't as low as a couple of days earlier in the shakeout. But it bottomed at almost the exact day, and then we had a V-shaped recovery. Just like in 2017, this is both approximately 430 days after the halving. We had this dip and we had the V-shaped recovery. So it's going to be interesting to see if this impacts the timing of our cycle peak. Because if we V from here and follow the 2017 cycle, then this peak is around mid-October. They are the dates we've been following. I just want to note that some analysts are lining up the bottom of our mid-cycle shakeout with the bottom of the mid-cycle shakeout in 2017, which also makes some sense. And if we were to do that and then follow the same path as 2017, this peak would end up being around December. So it's not our base case at the moment. I just want to call it out. We'll keep monitoring it and we'll keep seeing if we need to put it into our models. But for now, our base case is that we're heading up for mid-October. And if that's the case, then it definitely makes a lot of sense to look at this as a second mid-cycle shakeout, or near the end of the cycle shakeout. So what happened this time? Well, we came in to almost test the trend line, but there was a bit of space underneath. And then we had a pullback of about 15%. And then the second time we came in, retested and broke through. It was quite an easy breakthrough. We didn't quite come in to retest the breakout. We did have a little pullback, but it's slightly above the breakout and much smaller. I think this was from the breakout, we went up 9%, and then the pullback was approximately 5 or 6%. So there is a lot of similarity between all of those pullbacks, but of course they have their own nuances as well. So if we have a look at what's happening this time, well, I'm looking at the space that we have here. We are consolidating at the moment, but we're doing it with a bit of space below the trend line. This does look fairly similar to what we just looked at in September of 2017. So that's very interesting. And then now just remind myself, if that was playing out, we had a pullback of about 15%. So if it did play out just like September 2017, then we could possibly come into about, call it 35,000 or slightly below that. So that would look like this. And then we came in and we broke through quite easy, little retest, and then went on our way. Didn't quite come in to retest the level we broke out of, and then into the launch pad. So that is certainly one scenario that we have. But if we're being honest, everything is really on the table. We may come in and test the trend line, come back to 35,000, break through. We may come in, consolidate below, and then break through. And once we do break through, we're certainly looking for a retest of the level of the breakout or close to it. So no matter what happens below, once we do break out, then we are looking, everybody will be getting very excited. And then most likely we'll come in and test the level of the breakout or just above, this sort of area, and then head up into our launch pad zone. So if you are looking for good entries, that will certainly be one of them. And another entry is if we come in and test this $35,000 level. This is slightly riskier because we're still below the most important trend line in crypto. But if that does happen, and then we start bouncing out of there, then that is another potential entry as well. So we're just doing this to prepare ourselves mentally for what's about to happen, because there's going to be lots of emotion involved. If we head up to the trend line, or if we break down from here, if we go down 15, 20% from here, you can imagine there's going to be lots of people saying that actually the bull market is over and this was a dead cat bounce and now we're heading to 20,000. And at the same time, once we break the most important trend line in crypto, if we go up 20%, everybody will be getting very excited, saying we're going to the all-time high straight away. And then we'll most likely have a pullback before we actually head up to our all-time highs. So this is all practice of preparing ourselves mentally for what is to come, particularly so we don't make any poor decisions along the way. And that's so we can enjoy the journey and, you know, be calm and focused, and also that we can explain it to other people, because there's going to be a lot asking about Bitcoin. Imagine what the euphoria is going to be like once we take out the all-time high, once we head up to $100,000. So well done for putting in the work, well done for studying, thank you for supporting, and I'll talk to you soon.